You are Locked On Rockets Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
I have to put myself on the screen first. It was not the easiest of days to be a Houston sports fan today as the Texans season came to an end, but there was a chance to get a win before the day came to an end by the hands of the Houston Rockets, and that's exactly what they did late night tonight out in Portland over the Trailblazers, doing it late and doing it big and easy late, which we all absolutely love to see. Hello and welcome tonight to the Locked On Rockets Postcast. I am your host, Michael Connor. Appreciate you guys joining us here this evening. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We're with you after every game. And yes, I am doing something as I did this show because I forgot that I need my laptop charger. It's going to die, and I have to have it. Welcome into the Locked On Houston sports page. We greatly appreciate that. Of course, this is always here for you after each and every game. Tonight's show of the Locked On Rockets Postcast, it is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, the new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, now you can see my graphics there. In full honesty, sometimes I make these graphics for, the lineup of the show over here. The third quarter or so. Tonight was one of those nights. I usually try to do it later, but tonight I was, got some things going on as I'm watching the game and, go ahead and put those together. And I do think it's right to an extent. I did feel like this basketball game tonight for the Rockets was a little sloppy early on. And look, these kind of nights are going to happen. They're not going to be perfect every single night like I want them to be. And I am sure. Am I being nitpicky? Abso-freaking-lutely. And I reserve the right to be nitpicky. You know why? Because I'm a fan. I'm sitting at home like you guys are. I don't play for them. I can be whatever I want to be. And now that my level of expectation for this team has risen so much, the second seed in the Western Conference now, of course, still I should say, but now at 28-13 with the win tonight, I just didn't love the early portions of the game. I mean, they were only up by what? Point at halftime, which is fine. And look, you have to play 4 quarters. Doesn't matter. It does not matter at the end of the day. Nothing matters other than you having more points than the other team when the clock goes to 0 for the final time. But they came out in the second half tonight, and there was a surge. I mean, they dang near put up 40 points in each of the third quarter and the fourth quarter. 36. Is it 36 in the third? Yeah, 36 in the third, 38 in the fourth. I don't know, but I think that's good. Watching basketball for all these years of my life, my 34 years of life, something tells me that 36 and 38 points in a basketball game or in a single quarter, back-to-back quarters, you're probably going to do pretty well in that game. That's exactly what happened tonight for the Rockets. It's always good to end these trips like this, too. They're going to get back to Houston probably tomorrow morning because I shouldn't say probably. They will get back to Houston tomorrow morning because they'll leave. What time is it now? 11:30. They probably won't get in the air until 1:30 at the earliest our time, probably closer to 2 a.m. And that's about a 4-hour flight. They'll be back here about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Get some sleep, get some rest. They'll turn right back around on Monday playing Detroit. Hopefully weather is allowing that here in Houston. It sounds like we should be good for Monday at 1 o'clock. But overall, again tonight, in the road trip, I know that they lost again, and we didn't have the show the other night for the late night one against the Sacramento Kings. Sorry about that. I just had a super early morning, and I just could not stay up until midnight to do a show that night. Just one of those nights. Or one of those days the next day, I should say. But the solid road trip. Take 2 out of 3. 14-7 now, by the way, on the road. They've been so good on the road this season, which is just awesome. And kind of do it in a different way each time. I mean, the game against the Nuggets the other night was fantastic. This game was, like I mentioned, not great early. And this is a game against a team that, you look at Portland when you come in, 13-28, or 13-27 coming in. This is a game you absolutely have to have. Like, no excuses, right? If they lost this basketball game tonight, like if they played the way that they were playing in the first half and then just kept playing that way the whole night and somehow found a way to lose, I would have come on here a little bit ticked off. Now, would part of that be because I've already had to watch and talk about one loss today in the city of Houston? Yeah, of course. Which, by the way, if you missed the Locked On Texans postcast earlier tonight, wrapping up the end of the regular season, I shouldn't say the end of the season, not the regular, ending the season, that is available here on this channel. If you want to go back and watch that tomorrow, it's an hour and 15 minutes of me and Wade Smith and Joe George, who joined us tonight, talking about that. But for this discussion here of the Rockets, this team's fun, and they give me something to be happy about every single night. They give you something to be happy about every single night. And even on a night where they come out and they're a little bit sloppy early, they still find a way to do their thing. We're going to talk, by the way, Jalen Green. I didn't want to just shove Jalen into our first segment and then forget about him. Jalen's on one, and is this one of those he's on one, or is this one of those we're watching the player finally take the step that we've all hoped and prayed that he would get to, as he is lining himself up at this moment for the best season of his career, the way that he is playing? We're going to talk about him. I do want to give some love here before we get to our first little quick, brief moment of telling you who provides you this show tonight. Shout out, of course, to Alperen Sengun. He was fantastic, 23-15. The Rockets getting it going in the third quarter really was a lot behind Alperen Sengun. He just kind of dominated the way that you needed him to dominate there in that quarter and really get it going. Alperen had 14 in that third quarter. 14 of his 23 points on the night. Dylan Brooks as well. He played his college basketball up there in the state of Oregon. He goes back and puts on a little bit of a show. 22 points for him tonight. Off the bench, Tari Eason. It's nice to have him back. The one hope and prayer that you should always have is that somehow Tari Eason finds a way to stay healthy. Because if that guy stays healthy, he's just a menace. And he's so freaking fun to watch out there. Any given night, as he came off the bench tonight for 18 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. Somehow, you go look at it, though. I mean, he played 24 minutes. He was a -2 in the plus-minus category. That's why you can't always take the plus-minus category all that seriously. You can go look at Aaron Holiday, though. He played that 15 minutes, was a +18. It's crazy. Just basketball sometimes. Let's talk about Jalen Green. How great this guy has been. Is this going to stick around? Is the Jalen Green that you are watching right now going to be the guy that's going to be here the rest of the season? Do you believe that? We'll discuss it here in a brief second on the Locked On Rockets Postcast. Right now, though, I want to tell you guys about Robinhood. Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%, plus you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% bonus on annual IRA contributions, sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 per month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to robinhood.com/boost over 8 times the national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. Locked On Rockets Postcast tonight. After the win, it's late night. Rockets After Dark. If you're watching this live, thank you. There's quite a few of you in here tonight. I appreciate you. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on the Locked On Rockets feed, if you're wondering still, this many games into the season, who's this voice? This isn't Jackson Gatlin. I am Michael Connor. I am your host. And I am the postcast host. This show is after every single game. Almost every single game. Occasionally there's games where we can't, like I mentioned the other night against Sacramento, we cannot do. It happens. It's a little bit late. Sometimes somebody's got an early morning and, West Coast is hard. You're going to find that with Astros games this season too. Some of those West Coast games, I won't be able to do them because it's going to be too late at night, too early the next day. It is what it is. But don't forget to, again, subscribe to the channel. If you are looking for Jackson Gatlin's work, he does a wonderful job with the Locked On Rockets podcast. That is a daily show on the week during the weekdays of Rockets discussion from Jackson. As I mentioned, is awesome at it. Make sure you check out his work. Make sure you subscribe to his page. And, well, you get the best of both worlds, this show and that show. Let's talk Jalen Green now. Jalen Green, fantastic once again for the Rockets tonight. He has been on one crazy run. Tonight for Jalen Green, he puts in another sterling night at 26 points, 10 of 17 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, grabbed 5 rebounds, had an assist, had a steal. Did lead the team in turnovers, had 4 of those, but that's okay. We'll let that one pass tonight. And like Alperen Şengün really was a big key in the third quarter to the Rockets turning it. I mean, look, he ended up not scoring at all in the fourth quarter because he played 0 minutes in the fourth quarter. He played 0 minutes in the fourth quarter. Jae'Sean Tate, who started, played 0 minutes. Alpi played 3:55. Dylan and Fred VanVleet still put in some minutes in that fourth. But it's nice to, get another good night out of him out of 3 quarters. That third quarter there for Jalen Green, like I mentioned, he and Alpi kind of led the charge there. There was only 3 other Rockets that scored in that third quarter when the Rockets scored 36. They got 14 out of Alpi. They got 12 out of Jalen Green. They got 5 out of Dylan Brooks, 2 out of Cam Whitmore, and 3 out of Aaron Holiday. So really, I mean, again, those are the guys that led the charge there. But the question continues to come up with Jalen Green. And, Jalen Green has always been, I don't want to be like, because it comes off so wrong. Look, I've always said it, and I'm always willing to admit to being wrong. I was never huge into the Jalen Green club. I wasn't. Full admit. And I'm admitting to you now, he has changed a lot of my views this season on him. And a lot of that I've talked about ad nauseum this season is in part because he plays defense now. He tries on the defensive end. He makes plays defensively. He is clearly bought into what his head coach is selling, which is playing hard, doing all the little things, and just getting after it constantly. And I appreciate that like crazy. That is something that you should not take lightly for a player that, again, is he ever going to be a unbelievably, is the shooter that he's been this month going to be the guy that he is all the time? Probably not. I mean, in the month, I shouldn't say, he's not going to be the month of January. I can tell you that. He's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in the month of January. He's averaging 30.3 points. He's shooting 52% from the field, 48 from 3. And that even includes a game where he went 0 for, the very first one of the month. Shooting 92% from the line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, almost a block, almost a steal a game. He has played as if he is a guy taking a step forward. The hope always is when this happens is that it's not just a heater of a month, which it very well could be. And if that happens, that's okay. It could go back to that. But I'm willing to sit here and admit, and I'm sorry if I start sneezing in a second. I feel one on the end of my nose, and it's killing me. My eyes are like watering right now from it. I think that what we're watching right now with Jalen Green, the freakish athleticism has always been there. His ability to get to the rim is unbelievable. I've thought he's the fastest player in the NBA now for a few years. And the only player who actually might be faster is his teammate, which is Amen Thompson. But I think part of the reason why I'm really buying into what he's doing this month is I think he's playing within himself. I think he's playing within the system. I think he's taking good shots consistently. He's making smart decisions consistently. And he's also kind of doing the things that I've always wanted to see him do, which is be the guy in the moments where, look, there's always going to be portions of NBA games where you need a guy to step up and hit the shots. Like the go-to guy. No bleep, you're going to need somebody to go up and hit the shots. Wow. Groundbreaking analysis. No, I'm talking about the go-to guy in the moment, right? Like things are getting sticky, things are getting slow, you're struggling to find offense. You're going to need somebody to be that guy. And it's always been my hope that Jalen Green would be that guy. Deep down, of course, that's what I want. When they took him in the draft, some guys still take a minute to blossom in the NBA. And I think we forget that sometimes. I'm guilty of it too. And Jalen Green will be 23 in February. He's 22 years old still right now. That's the crazy thing. There actually can still be room for development. And you know what? He keeps getting stronger. Again, as somebody that was not in the Jalen Green fan club ahead of this, I am standing here in front of you today asking, pleading you to allow me in. Will you allow me in? Not that I wasn't a fan, but you know what I mean? Like, will you just let me be a fanboy to an extent? Like, if he goes out and have a bad game, we're going to talk it out too. But he's maturing. His body's maturing. It's a weird thing to say about him. But you know what I mean? Like, his athletic ability, his strength, all those things that matter. And I think the biggest thing, again, that I mentioned a moment ago is that when you go and look at the way that he plays right now, the way that he's playing, he's not chucking. He's not playing outside of what they do. He's making smart decisions. And now that he's hitting shots, his teammates are feeding him the basketball. I think you'd love to see it, man. Absolutely love to see the growth out of Jalen Green this season. And look, like I mentioned, he's on his way to a career year. Maybe not in terms of points per game at the moment. It's close. It's career high was his second year, 22 points per game. And one other thing before I get to the rest of his stats for the season. He's had stretches like this in the past. A lot of them have been at the end of the season when it gets a little bit easier to do that because you're playing against a lot of teams that aren't trying to win basketball games, that are running out guys that, honestly can be G League talent all over the board. He's doing this in January right now, middle of the season. And he's doing it with his team being in a spot where, I know that they have the advantage over Memphis right now, who's the current 3 seed. But where they're at, a game and a half ahead, and with the rest of the teams, look, the 4 seed, the Denver Nuggets they're 3 games back. So there's still a lot of teams here within striking distance of the Rockets. Really, I would say up until, I've got no respect for the Clippers. I don't think the Clippers are that good. I'd say Memphis and Denver, those are the teams within striking distance. There's other teams that could be capable of getting hot, and really only one of them, I guess, and that's Dallas, but they got a ton of issues in terms of health and whatnot. And I'm giving them the respect of being the Western Conference champion last year, probably more than I should. But to be a front runner, you got to stay on it every night to stay at the top of that Western Conference right up there. What he's doing, he's leading that charge right now. The team is now, 7-2 in this stretch of games that he's played. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. 7-2 in the month of January as Jalen has led them. And he's on his way to Player of the Month type of honors, the way that he is rolling it out there. Let's talk about keeping this good time rolling. Let's take a look at Monday's game against the Detroit Pistons, who you actually have to worry about a little bit. We'll talk about that next here on the Locked On Rockets Postcast. Right now, though, I want to tell you about SKIMS. When I found out about SKIMS making underwear for men, well, I was intrigued. I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family, so I had to give it a try. Let me tell you, it lives up to the hype. I've always had issues with underwear. Fit, comfort, just finding the right style has always been a bit of an issue for me. SKIMS changed all that. Their men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with the perfect balance of comfort and style. Shop SKIMS Mens at skims.com/LockedOnNBA and SKIMS stores. Let them know that we sent you after you place your order, where you can select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. Again, make sure you go out there to SKIMS and skims.com/LockedOnNBA to get yourself either the boxer brief, the traveler, the cotton brief, the stretch brief. So many great options from SKIMS. Go and check them out today. One more message before we get back to our Rockets discussion. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Unless you bet on the Texans earlier today. Right now, new customers, what was the final score? I don't even remember what the final score was. I have to look it up real quick. But right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. That's right. $300 to keep the action going. FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keep every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. Right now, just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. Again, that's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Locked On Rockets Postcast, Saturday night, almost midnight, almost Sunday morning as we're doing this live. If you're watching live, thank you for stopping by. I am your host, Michael Connor. If you're listening to this later on the podcast, don't forget to go and hit the subscribe button on the channel. Get yourself locked in every single day with the Locked On Rockets Postcast. And check out Jackson Gatlin on the Locked On Rockets podcast. Again, that is a daily show. We appreciate you guys stopping by tonight, like I mentioned, on a fun night. A night after, I shouldn't say a night after, but a few hours after the city of Houston was dealt with a loss from the Houston Texans. You know, it is what it is. We were due a victory tonight, and that is exactly what we got out of this Houston Rockets team. You just always enjoy winning over that. Now they're going to come back home, and Monday afternoon, a day game, which will be Martin Luther King Day. The Rockets will play, 1 o'clock against the Detroit Pistons. Detroit, now, they're not unbelievable. But for the Pistons standards, the way that they've been, I can't remember the last time they were any good. Right now, they're a playoff team. They're in the play-in in the East. They're 21-21 as we sit right here. I think for the Rockets to go out there and take care of their business. Now, first off, always know that Jalen Green wants to go out there and put on a show against Cade Cunningham. Fine by me. But if they get the same kind of Alpy that they got tonight, I think that they're going to be just fine. It's important, though. Even though it's a team that is a play-in team in the East, it's a team that you feel like going in you should absolutely beat. And let's hope that they can do that. Don't forget, as soon as that game ends, of course, this channel will be live with the Locked On Rockets Postcast. I hope you guys have a great rest of your 10 minutes of Saturday night. I hope you have a great Sunday. We will talk again Monday.